How did Arrested Development wind up in your life, Tony Hale? How did that happen?
Man.
When did it happen?
How did Arrested Development? Well, I was doing commercials in New York. And it might be shocking, but my type in commercial was the guy who was not all there. And that has continued for about 25 years. And then this casting director, Marcia DeBonis, who cast commercials, she was also casting Arrested Development. And she saw the character of Buster and thought, I know a guy.
And it was you.
I know a guy who's checked out and not all there. And I came in, and he was described as a kind of a mama's boy, man child. And I remember in the description it said that he massages. He likes to give people massages, and so they were in the scene. I'm giving a person a massage, and I'm rubbing my knees, but the camera stopped above my knees, and so you didn't really know what I was doing down there. And Mitch Hurwitz said he saw it and went, "What's happening?" And I guess that piqued his interest, and he brought me in.
Sold.
There's a guy who's checked out, and I don't know what's going on down there.
Thus, Buster Bluth was born.
Buster Bluth was born. And he was a panic-stricken, sweet character who also had his hand eaten off by a seal. He had a hard life, man.
By the way, that is one of my favorite scenes in the history of Arrested Development. The doctor coming out of the emergency room.
So good.
And saying that you're going to be all right.
Yeah. But did I tell you the story?
What is it?
So 15 years after that, I shot that scene. I was doing a podcast in front of an audience, and I was telling people that that was my favorite scene.
Yes.
And I said that the doctor came out and said, he's going to be okay, but his hand has been eaten off by a seal. Ha, ha, ha. Somebody in the audience rose their hand and said, no. He said he's going to be all right, meaning he just has a right arm. And it was 15 years after shooting that scene that I got the joke. That an audience member told me the joke of a show that I was in. And this happens so often. I miss so many jokes.
But that's the whole joke, is that the doctor says you're going to be all right.
All right, that I only have a right hand.
And your family's like relieved, and they're like, no. And the doctor, it's so funny. He's just like, that's odd, because I wouldn't have taken it as well as you're taking it. Like, what do you mean? No, he's lost his left hand. He's only going to be all right.
15 years after the show is when I got the joke. And another one of my favorite jokes, which I did get, thankfully, on the day, was when Tobias joins the Blue Man Group thinking it's a support group for depressed men. That is just great writing. Mitch Hurwitz, man. Great writing.
Which script did you get for Buster Bluth where you were like, okay, this may be a bridge too far, but I got it. I'm going to get it.
I don't know if there was. I just remember thinking the extremes they were putting. Well, I will say, I mean, I was definitely shocked about the hand coming off. I remember going up to Mitch and saying, like, hey, I think I had an idea of, like, what if Buster was on Dancing with the Stars or something? And he was like, yeah, I'm thinking about a seal biting off your hand. And I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah, because those are too far.
But I remember shooting scenes months before, and there was little signs of, like, I would cover alarm or something. It would say arm off, and there's all these. And I had a hand chair and all these armed hands references, and I'm like, what's going on with all the hand references? Cut to, my hand's cut off.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. And then the same doctor came out and said that it looks like you're dead, or something like that. Looks like he's dead. It looks like he's dead, and then, I mean, my gosh,
it's so good.
Jason Bateman was just so perfect.
Jason Bateman is the perfect straight man.
Where he's just like, I need to say, like, are you saying he's dead, or it just looks like he's dead? And the doctor says, no, it looks like he's dead. He's alive.
That's so good. And he had so much chaos around him, Jason Bateman, and just bounced off with that straight, dry humor that was just so
every
good.
time.
So good.
Who is the easiest to break up? That just crack up on the set.
I
of that
definitely broke a lot. Will and I, there's a blooper where I lose it with Will Arnett. I think Liza Minnelli was in the scene. And Liza Minnelli played my girlfriend. And did I ever tell you the story? She sang for us in the backseat of our car.
No.
I think did I tell you that? So yeah, she took my wife and I out for lunch, and I'm talking about her. Anyway, we're just meeting, and I said, oh, what have you been up to? And she said, I just did this show at Radio City Music Hall. And I was like, oh, and I didn't know her music. And I said, what songs did she sing? You sang. And she said, oh, there's one called Liza with a Z. And I was like, oh, she breaks out Liza with a Z in the back seat of my car. And she'd done it so many times that you could hear the orchestrate. She could hear it in her head, and she'd go, Liza with a Z, ba-da-ba-ba-bam! And while she's just chain smoking in the backseat of my car, just lighting up. And I was like, hun, keep going. Just keep going. Roll down the windows and let loose. Isn't that great?
Wow.
By the way, I would
great?
make her redo that and make it like her ringtone, right? Like,
oh, man.
Like every time she calls your phone.
Yeah, and she actually, my brother, this is years ago, when my brother had his third kid, or maybe it was his second kid, I was with Liza, and I said, Liza, my brother just, and she left him a voicemail congratulating. She's like, this is Liza, welcome, congratulations. And I think my brother deleted it or something. Yes. And I was like, Mike, come on, man.
What a rookie mistake.
Rookie mistake. So to this day, and
What a day that must have been when you go to work. We're like, we're going to give you a girlfriend. Who's playing her? Liza Minnelli.
And that was the thing about the show. You just roll with it. You're like, well, yeah, of course. Of course. And she also did her own stunts. There was one time she did like a back somersault. Yeah, she did like a back somersault in her black dance stretch pants. And we were just like, but then she just went through it and she just popped up, just ready to go. Yeah. Full of life, man. So sweet. And the thing is, when you're dealing with that kind of an iconic act, talent, you're like, I don't know which way it's going to go. She was so lovely, so kind. It was great.
I don't know how you would even get through a scene, you and Will Arnett doing the dancing, at the funeral, where you were dressed in some sort of...
Yeah, to the final countdown, right?
Yeah,
I think we were dancing to the final countdown. Yeah, and then I fell in the grave.
It's some sort of weird getup. The two of you were dancing
weird
around.
Getup. I was dressed as an army stripper. I think I was dressed as an army stripper or something like that.
How do you keep a straight face?
Oh, I didn't.
And by the way, that's Final Countdown is one of the most popular sports themes of all time. When you're ready to get the tip off or ready to get going.
Do you know what? You'd be proud of me I did Inside Out 2 this summer.
By the way, congratulations!
Thank you so much. I just wanted to bring it back to me.
As you play Fear. Nobody plays Fear like you, man.
Thank you. Right?
You're welcome.
There's the theme. But I knew you'd be proud of me because I threw out 2 first pitches for the Texas Rangers and the Phillies, and I was obviously petrified.
Fear.
But I was in character, and I'm walking off the Texas Rangers field, and I saw a guy who worked for the Rangers or something. Goes, well, it wasn't our worst. And I was like, man, is encouragement your middle name? Because I don't need to hear that. Right after I did it?
Well, it
wasn't our worst.
What are you supposed to do with that?
I didn't even know what I said. I was like, thanks. Okay, so I got second worst.
Oh, my God.
I know. But I was thankful that you could stand in front of the mound. I heard if you stand on the mound, it gets really wonky.
Yes, because if you stand on the mound, you feel like you have to throw it down. And that's how you spike it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That is the ultimate problem.
And I'm convinced there's a guy who went out before me who threw it kind of poorly, and I think he might have worked for the team. And I'm wondering if he does that to show us, hey, you're not going to be that bad.
And then he comes off and they tell him, well, that was our worst. So maybe
exactly. That's the guy that gets the worst.
That is so funny, Mo.
I know.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.